Hello everyone, it's me again, and I am going to be touching on some recent events, specifically about one of my favorite magazines. Well, I used to not be, but now I'm a big fan of it, GQ. And recently they just published an article about 23 books that you should not read. These are all books that you shouldn't waste your time on because they're bad themes, poorly written, they're sexist, homophobic, transphobic, and you don't want to clutter your mind with that garbage. So let's get into it. The first one, of course, is a major racist book, and the writer, Mark Twain, definitely an anti-Semite, I believe. So anyway, it's Huckleberry Finn, and of course you shouldn't read Huckleberry Finn. I had to read it in grade 10, and it was atrocious. He uses some unpleasant words that could be quite triggering to some. The N-word. So hard R too, so it's pretty bad, not like Jay-Z one. And anyway, should not read that book. Don't waste your time on it. Another one is Goodbye to All of That by Robert Gaines, which took place in World War I, which was a really racist and horrible time, and we know the worst atrocities based on sort of ethnicity occurred during World War I. And there in that book, he makes fun of three people named Mohammed, so it's not worth reading that book for sure. Another one, don't really have to explain why you shouldn't read it. It's the Bible. Like any good idea or, I don't know, society has ever emerged reading that garbage. No way. A next book that you should not read, it's a complete bore. It's Catch-22, and a real issue with Catch-22 is it fails to capture the absurdity and the impossibility of the conflict of war. And it really makes you kind of think, like, we need a book. There's a lot of war books out there, and we really need a book that captures the idea of war, but yet doesn't bring in any of the nasty images of war. It's kind of a dilemma where there's no escape from a mutually conflicting situation. I don't know. I'm sure there's like a shorter word of saying that, but Catch-22 is not a book to read because of those reasons. So I decided that I was going to add some books on my own that I think should have made the list that they failed to forget. They didn't include. It was 21 books, by the way, but 23 sounds a little better. So let me add 3 more, even though that'd be 24, but whatever. I'm no dummy. So 24 will work. Kobe Bryant. So book I also had to read in school was Animal Farm, and Animal Farm isn't really good because it doesn't paint equality in the best light, and as well, animals would never be discriminatory if they could speak, so it's a stupid book to read, and instead you should probably read a book that puts equality in a good light, and it really speaks about oppression things, and I think that everyone would benefit from reading the Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx and something Engel, but everyone forgot his name. I don't know. It's not important. Another book that you certainly should not read is this new book by that transphobe, Jordan Peterson, the guy who's a big fan of that racist frog, Pepe. Well, his book, 12 Rules for Life, is really supposed to be transforming for male audiences because it teaches them the value of masculinity. And I know that masculinity is toxic, and that's the last thing we need. And I'm really happy that we finally have magazines that have turned around like GQ to dismantle masculinity that has been destroying men's lives for years. And instead, I believe that you should read anything by Naomi Klein. She's really empowering to women and dismantling the patriarchy. And we don't need hierarchies like that lobster guy Jordan Peterson suggests. We should have, if we're going to have hierarchies, they should be based on something important, like, I don't know, maybe race and gender, but not discriminatory against, like, people of color, but, like, it would be not white people at the top. But it may, yeah, and we shouldn't do it, like, shouldn't do it on intelligence. That's a big way that people like to say meritocracy, and it's really discriminatory against people who are maybe suffering from mental illness or mental capabilities. So we shouldn't have hierarchy based on that stuff. And maybe if there's a hierarchy, put me at the top of it. Anyway, I'm just going to leave it at that. And I hope everyone subscribes to GQ now, because it's a men's magazine and it's finally doing good for men, posting articles like this. Have a nice day.